Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today I'm going to be checking out a track by an actor named Sage Phoenix titled Without Your Love. And if we switch over to here, we're actually going to be listening through not only the original but also the remix today. So we've got two tracks, and we're going to listen through each of these from start till finish. We're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Let's go, make a big screen. Awesome. Nice to start with the piano here. Okay, so we've got a variation of the 1-5-6-4 or something like that with that chord progression.
It's been months since I heard your voice. Hurts too much cause I have no choice. Sometimes that's just the way it goes, or so you said.
I'm liking the vocal clarity here, you know. Comfortable within our vocal technique. A little bit of vibrato there at the start.
It honestly feels like yesterday that we were lying down face to face. You knew how to love the pain away, so why'd you have to go? It breaks my
Really tight drum percussion here with those hi-hats as well.
We are. I put you first.
Gonna comment on the hi-hats. While I appreciate they're trying to sort of keep interest by it's distracting me from the vocals a little bit. That's just a personal thing. It's probably fine with most other people, but
we couldn't make it work.
It's just if you have them like kind of automated to go like that, then you're like pulled away from the center field, if that makes sense. Whereas if they're in one position, you're like, oh, okay, so that's there, and then the vocals are still here. You know what I mean?
You'll always be my first love, the only girl I'm thinking of. I'm lost without your love.
Just before I continue, I was just confirming whether Xiaoqi Destinica is in both versions. It's Xiaoqi's in the remix, so that's okay. Oh, those? What sweet, soft vocal harmonies they are. I'm liking the call and response here with these vocal parts up in the high register with those their head voice there. Alongside that sub-lap piano motif in the background, those broken chords. The drums just continues with a similar groove.
You told me I was your everything, through all the joy and tears that life brings. Now you're in the words that I sing. Where do I go now? There's an empty space here in my bed, 1,000 memories stuck in my head. So tell me, do you have regrets now that we fell to the ground? It breaks my heart thinking about where we are. I put you first, but we couldn't make it work.
I mean, like, I'm just enjoying listening to the story at this point in time as a listener. I don't really need more than this. I mean, it's over that 4-minute mark. Oh, that was a great transition there from just head voice. Nice legato passage there. That reverb and the echoes and stuff display a solitude that is communicated by the lyrics. Good choice. So he's just repeating that verse by that hook motif.
No one knows me like you do. Nothing can compare to you. I'm lost without your love.
Well, now the remix is going to be different. I am curious. Nice ambient atmospheric tone to that with the piano leading us out on the right. Continued vocal focus there. Okay, I mean, I don't think we're wanting the listener to forget the Without Your Love part. That's totally fine. That's okay. You know, that's cool. So the original is quite palatable. I'll talk about that at the end of the conclusion. We're going to listen to the remix now. So this is the version with both Sage Phoenix and Xiaoqi Destinica, Without Your Love remix. So we're also going to listen through this and hear what we think. How different will it be? How different?
It's been months since I heard your voice. Hurts too much 'cause I have no.
Is this similar to what we had previously?
That's just the way
Is it the inclusion of Xiaoqi as an additional vocalist?
it goes, or so you said. It honestly feels like yesterday that we were lying down face to face. You knew how to love the pain away, so why'd you have to go? It breaks my heart thinking about where we are. I put you first, but we couldn't make it work. You'll always be my first love, the only girl I'm thinking of.
So this song is basically about someone who is getting over the end of a relationship, their first love, right?
I'm lost without your love.
So it's a love song. I'm sure a lot of people will be able to relate to it.
No one moves me like you do. Nothing can compare to you. I'm lost, lost without your love. Lost, so lost without your love. Without your love.
It's very similar to the previous one. Very similar with most, it's outside of the vocals.
Without your love, without your love. How could we go back again?
I guess this is Xiaoqi.
When he had to end, but your love was heaven sent. I won't deny. Scared to fall just like
Both great vocalists. Nice.
the pain hurt more and more. Missing you and I'm not sure, but I want to try. It breaks
Great vocal timbre and coloration there.
my heart.
Ah, those harmonies there, those additional ones.
It
Yeah, they're fantastic. A little bit of a shift up there with that additional layer.
make it work. You'll always be my first love, the only girl I'm thinking of. I'm lost without your love. No one moves me like you do. Nothing can compare to you. I'm
But there's not really much for me to say
lost without your
about the backing or the accompaniment because it's very similar, if not the same, to the previous track.
so lost without your love.
It's an interesting angle having two different singers voicing different parts of the verse as if they're talking to each other. I kind of like that angle a little bit. It adds a bit of complexity to the story. Like are both people feeling the same way, but they just don't want to tell each other.
So lost without your love, without your love. No one moves me like you do. Nothing can compare to you. I'm lost, lost without your love. Lost,
And going back into here.
so lost.
Dynamically, it's very flat because of the way it's been mixed and mastered. Everything's a similar loudness. Even if there's like less stuff going on, they keep that compression strong. It's a staple as part of the genre. I'm not upset about it.
Without your love.
But there's less impact, arguably, to the hooks because they don't have it, that oomph going into it, that shift in the loudness.
Without your love, without your love.
We just got those cute little piano parts in the right going on. Cloudy stuff finishing off. And that's basically it, isn't it? That's Without Your Love by Sage Phoenix, or the remix, featuring Xiaoki Destinica. And this is my conclusion of my review of these two songs, the original and remix of Without Your Love. What I think it's about, well, I mean, I think I've spoken what it's about. I think that it's about someone who is coming to terms with what's occurred in their relationship, their love interest. They've moved on. They are struggling without their love in their life. They're trying to move on, but they just can't. It's difficult. It's about heartbreak and everything associated with that unpleasant sort of experience. And I think it's a beautiful track. It was sung really well by both Sage Phoenix doing it sort of on her own in the original, and Xiaoki Destinica with a clearly different vocal timbre there. You know, they are great singers, both of them. Clear head and chest technique, really confident on the mic, and they both sang well by themselves, illustrating great legato voice, and their vibrators were pretty good as well. And they sang appropriately to the theme and the emotional sort of balance of the track, and it sounded very vulnerable and sort of like caring and loving, and I think that's great. It was nice to have the two singing almost to each other through each of the verses, as if to display a bit of a complexity, a plot twist that's here in the remix as opposed to the original, where it sounds like Sage Phoenix is going through it all on her own. Great choice, great stuff. Backing behind it is that traditional sort of like soft pop kind of, with the trappish kind of hip hop and kind of drums, and with the clicky sort of hi-hats, and then the bass down the bottom, and you had that piano line playing wistfully the entirety of the time, whether it was filtered up to the top or it was in full on that right hand, and kind of keeping things nice and balanced. I think that was a pretty sort of progression we had. I think it was based off of a 1-5-6-4 or something similar to that, which, no shade, it works, but it's an effective way of doing things. People will enjoy it, and I think that people will be able to not only appreciate the vocals but also relate to the story and where it goes with the vocals, how it's being told. And I think that the theme sort of buffs that up. You're working with triads like that and a few different extensions for a bit of tonal sort of complexity is a smart move, but we also didn't need to sort of shove too much else in there either. Like we had like little drums, it did those sort of like more orchestral drums like in the beginning to display like a kind of a increase in the tension or the prominence of it, and then you had the bass, the hook coming with like drum and the bass and everything like that. It was fine, like it's not the most extraordinarily out there way of like producing a track I've ever heard in my life, but again, within the genre and the considerations associated, I think that works absolutely fine, especially with a single. You want people to find it palatable and to be able to sort of enjoy it without having to sort of like question things too much. And I think that's absolutely fine. The track is sung beautifully, and the vocals are the focal point anyways. So if you had too much sort of crazy stuff going on with the accompaniment section, it would have taken away and been detrimental to the listening experience. Yeah, I mentioned that there wasn't much of a shift in dynamic range, and when we had the piano come in, because of the way the studio mixing and mastering was done, the limiting compression was so constant, and it was like there was a ceiling and that music was hitting it. So it was nice and loud, but that meant that, of course, even if we went a bit more quietly, I mean, there was like automation on the volume at the end and that fade out, but aside from that, it was consistently sort of like one sort of main sort of loudness vibe throughout. And I think that, again, if you've got people either actively or passively listening, that works. I think structurally at 4 minutes 14, I'm thinking that would have been as long as we could have probably gone with the track. I think if we would have needed to maybe have instantiated a new chord progression or like a new bass line, or switched up the drums a little bit more. I had a bit more range to it, like from that perspective. But I think it was interesting enough as it was to carry us through the multiple verses and the hooks, and then the repetition of the hooks at the end with that interlude at the end, or the repetition of one of the verse lines from earlier on. So that it was fine. Structurally, it was fine. It was easy to follow along to, and it was easy to listen to. And I understand where we were going with it. I don't think there was a note out of place. The piano performance especially was quite competent. The production, recording, mixing, mastering, like the vocals were recorded really well. They were nice and clear in the mix, had great presence. The filtering EQ was done well. A little bit of reverb and delay on there as well. There were things to sort of sparkle it up and keeping it fresh. The rest of the elements of the mix were produced well as well. It was a very clean mix. You know, you had nice side chaining of the drums to the bass and everything. There weren't any sort of issues with the leveling. It was nice and wide in the frequency spectrum, and then there were no resonances. I know it was nice and wide in the stereo field, and there were no weird resonances in the frequency spectrum. I didn't like how the drums went like with the hi-hats, but did it, because again, I think it took away focus from the center field, especially when you had the vocals there. That's a very small kind of gripe there. I think aside from that, I haven't got any sort of major complaints about this track, and I think that's also the thing with the hi-hats move is like a subjective thing. I don't know whether or not I would have liked a more dynamic range in the performance. Maybe the things just kind of... No, because you can't get away with it in this genre, especially if you've got multiple vocalists, and especially if you need all the words to come through clear, and especially if you've got a clean mix. It's fine. No, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. This was a good effort on behalf of Sage Phoenix, and you know, featuring obviously Shalky, Destinika, and the remix. Very happy with what they've done so far. You know, it's a good effort. I'm glad to see Sage Phoenix still continuing to produce music, and I wish them all the best of luck in future, because effectively this is my review of Without Your Love, both the original remix from Sage Phoenix with Shalky Destinika featuring in the remix. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go and check out Sage Phoenix's various social medias and their YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.